Hello guys and welcome to my channel. My name is Adora, and if you're just coming across this for the first time, thank you very much for stopping by. So I just came across this post recently online. It's a forum for a lot of people that live in America, and they come there to like discuss about things happening in the US, just social issues, religious issues, politics and all that, a lot of things, current affairs and all that. So this guy, who no one knows, Anonymous, that was the name he put up there, actually put up a story. He wrote a story there. In fact, it was a story because it was the longest post I saw on that particular forum for the topic that was being discussed. And he said, he was like asking a question to the general public, and he said, I'm in trouble right now, I need help. So someone replied and said, what's your problem about? And he went ahead to write the long story, and I am going to read it exactly as he has written it up there. Hi, I'm Anonymous. I live in Dallas, Texas, and I have a major problem that has been of big concern to me. I have been married to my pretty wife for quite a while now, but the fact is that I really do not wish to continue with her, as the initial intention was not for me to be with her in marriage, but I just used her for a particular purpose. Now she found out my real intention, and she's really, really, really crazy. She has recently traveled to see her parents, and then he kind of covered the name of the area or the town or city where she traveled to. He said she traveled to see her parents, and I'm not very sure what's going to happen when she returns home. Right now, I'm in a deep fix. I don't know what to do. So someone actually commented and said, what was your initial intention for marrying her? Were you not in love with her or what? And then he went ahead to reply. He said, honestly, when I met her, I didn't even think I was going to last 5 years with her. I just needed her to regularize my stay. Then he put in brackets, to get my footing in the USA. Now, this particular issue is not strange. This is something a lot of people have been doing from time immemorial to get their residence permit, to get their stay in the country and all that. And I must say, it's very, very, very common amongst Africans, blacks and all that. Good. If you are of the opinion that you must marry someone to get your paper in a country, or you must marry, because in this particular story, he was talking about it being a white girl, a white person. Although I didn't read up to the point where he mentioned that, but that was who he actually got married to. If you're of the opinion that you must, or rather that you must get your residency, or you think the only way you are eligible to remain in the country legally is by marrying someone or by going into a relationship, and after you have gotten what you want, you dump the person. You are not being smart. You are not being clever. You are not being wise. The only thing you are actually being is wicked. And when I mean wicked, I mean in bold italics, capital letter wicked. Now, let me tell you a story of what happened some years back. Many years back, I used to know a guy back then. I was still back then in Africa, and this guy was living in the UK. And he was just a friend. He had a girl he wanted to marry, and this girl was back there too in Nigeria. And he made me to know his fiancée. Like, he introduced me to his fiancée, so we were friends. And she was always very worried about the fact that he couldn't come home to visit her, to see her. And initially, because then I didn't know how it works, I didn't know how this immigration thing works, I didn't know that maybe you will have to wait for a while before you get your residence permit, you have to go through processes and all that. I didn't know, she didn't know as well, because we haven't traveled out of the country as at that time. So I didn't understand why he couldn't come to Nigeria to see her, and she didn't understand why either. So she was always thinking, oh, you've just moved on with your life. Then Until one day he actually made a call and he explained to her what he was going through, that he didn't have his residence permit in the country, so he wasn't allowed to travel out of the country, so he just had to wait until he gets it before he can make a move. So after a while he called again to say, okay, now he has just married a lady who has the right to be in the country. He just married a white woman and he wants to get his citizenship or his residence permit from her before he can be able to travel. And he also went in depth to explain to his fiancée that he does not intend to marry this woman for real. He only wanted her for a purpose. He only wanted to use her to fulfill his residence issue. And then after he has gotten what he wants, he's going to leave her and then come over to Nigeria to marry his wife. And so he went ahead to reassure his fiancée that he was not marrying for love, that he wasn't marrying the girl here in the UK because he loved her or because he wanted to have a family or because he wanted to start something serious or, something like that. He assured her. And she agreed and said, okay, fine, no problems, as long as you will always remember me. And so months turned into years, and this guy finally got what he wanted. He got married here, he got his permits to stay, he got everything working for him, because at this point he was working, he could travel and all of that. And all of a sudden, he just woke up one day and said he no longer wanted to stay in the UK, that he wanted to move to the US. The wife over here was like, why do you want to move to the US? Why don't you stay here? Let's start a family. And he was like, no, he prefers it in the US because it's too rigid. Life in the UK is too rigid. It's too strict. It's quite hard. It's this. He was giving excuses that he prefers to be in the US where it's a bit flexible for him to do what he wants. So he left the one over here and moved to the US. On getting to the US, because the kind of paper he had here is not the paper that can afford him to live there permanently and do and mix up with every other person that has a legal citizen rights there. So he had to go to the UK and start afresh. I mean, in the US, he had to go to the US and start afresh, processing his papers from beginning again. And this time he ran into another lady who he professed his love for, and told the person all manner of lies just to get into a relationship. And he knew from the word go that he was not in it for love. He just wanted to get his permits to remain in the country or his citizenship right or whatever it is he wanted to stay there and then move on. So he replicated the same process he did in the UK. He did that in the US. He did that in the US with this new lady. And then after a while, he got what he wanted. Because the lady filed his documents for him, his residency for him. He got everything. But at this point, he said to himself, he's not getting any younger. He needs to settle down. He needs to have a wife. He needs to start having children. He needs to put himself together and start planning for his future. And then at that time, he remembered, oh yes, my girl is still waiting for me in Nigeria. I have to go back home for her. He prepared himself to go back home. He prepared himself to go and marry the love of his life. He prepared himself to go and marry the real wife that he wanted. One thing led to the other, and the American wife discovered that he had some hidden plans, that he had plans to go home, that he had plans to go and marry the real girl. And how did she find out, if I may ask? The man's friend, who knew his plan, his movements, his schedule, his future plan, who was very close to him, a fellow Nigerian, leaked the secret to the American wife. And he made it look like, I'm just looking out for you. I don't want you to feel hot. See what this man has in mind. See his plan. Look where he's going. Look what he has to do. Blah, 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 and all that. And the American lady was like, oh, really? And she thought the man was actually just trying to break her home or break her relationship. So she said, I need proof. And do you know what? This guy actually had proof. The proof was a text message that his friend had sent to him, detailing him of his plans to go back to Nigeria and marry the real girl. and he forwarded all the messages to the American wife. Immediately she had that. That was her license to kill. To cut the long story short, this man never made it home. He never went to Nigeria to marry this girl. Why? Because he died. He lost his life in America. What took his life? His American wife did. And she did because she felt betrayed. She did because she felt she was just about to be used and dumped. She did because she felt, I'm not going to give you this very important document to be in the country, and then you dump me here and you go back home to bring someone else to reap the fruit of my labor. It's not going to happen. So she ended him. Now, why am I saying this? This is very common amongst a lot of people. Now, it's not just about amongst the men. Women too do this. I have heard stories of a lot of women, black women, that marry the elderly white men for a purpose. They're not marrying him because they love him. They're not marrying him because, oh, they want to spend the rest of their life with him. Like, this man is going to go before you. So what is the rest of the life you're spending with him? They're not marrying him because they think he might even be able to bear children. No. Some of them don't even want to have children with the man because they don't want anything binding them. And some, when they even decide to have children with the man, it's still for a purpose. Maybe because they want the child, they want something to bind them with the man that they can be able to gain some financial benefits from. People go into the relationships and marriages for different reasons. But if you want to get married to someone of any color, red, white, black, green, purple, or whatever, be true to yourself. Be genuine to yourself. Stop using people as a bait to get what you want. Stop playing with people's emotions. Stop playing with people's feelings. I usually hear some men, especially men, I hear a lot of men say, and even women, because I've heard this about women, some women, especially in Europe, I hear them say things like, when you marry Oyibo now, you marry Oyibo, after all, not be your real husband, be that. You know, they will not have like a black man by the side, a black boy that is, you know, doing the main servicing and that they're keeping by the side as their side cock. Meanwhile, they're married to a white man. Or I've also heard stories about black guys married to white girls, and then they will tell you that their real wife is in Africa. You are toying with the emotions of these people. You're toying with the hearts of these people. These people are humans, like you and I. They have feelings. A lot of them must have, you know, even gone against their families' belief in marrying outside of their race. A lot of them must have taken risk. Maybe some families do not like interracial marriages, but the girl involved might have felt like, no, well, it's my life to live. I like this black boy and I want to be with him. And she went against her parents' wish just to be with you. And at the end of the day, what do? You disappoint her to go and marry your own person because you think that's the real wife. If you don't have the intention of marrying somebody or settling with somebody, genuinely, there's no point starting anything. You just leave the person and look for another means of regularizing your stay. These things happen from time to time. People's hearts are being broken. And bear it in mind that not everyone can handle mental health issues. Not everyone can handle a heartbreak. People commit suicide because of issues like this. People break down because of issues like this. People get mentally ill, mentally sick, mentally disturbed because of issues like this. And then you, on the other hand, think you are smart. You think you're playing wise. You think you're just a sharp guy. You're just a sharp babe. And at the end of the day, you think you are really everything. But I just want to let you know that you are not just being smart or you're not being wise. You are being wicked because you're toying with someone's emotion. So think about it. If you want to regularize your stay in any country you find yourself, and you don't have the intention to settle down with this person, like to marry this person for real, like real, true love, just go ahead with your life. Leave the person to be. Do not drag the person. Give the person a green light all the way, only for you to dump the person. That's not nice. It's really not good. Thank you very much for watching. And I do hope you share this to your friends and family so that if they have the intention of breaking anyone's heart in future, they should understand that not everybody can cope with such a stress. And not everybody might be as kind. Some people might have the intention of taking you down because they think that you have just used and dumped them. Like the American lady that's sent the black guy 6 feet below. Thank you very much. See you later.